This is a review of the Seafrogs underwater housing for the Panasonic GH5, GH5S and the GH5 Mark II. Now, I'm not a big snorkeler. I might do it maybe twice a year. So the main reason why I bought this piece of kit was because I had to shoot a set of videos for swim instructors in how to train their students properly. So they needed underwater video to pick out the proper swim form and that sort of thing. I didn't want to use a GoPro, so the next best thing was my vintage GH5. The main thing that drew me to this housing, apart from the affordable price, was that it was lightweight and it's built quite sturdy, even though it's mostly plastic. To test it all out, I did actually go snorkeling and put it to the test in salt water, and it held up incredibly well. I'm really impressed with the footage and photos I could get, even though the water visibility wasn't the best. It kept everything dry and safe and secure, which is more than what I could ask for. Now let's have a look at what you get with this housing. It works with both the original GH5, the GH5S and the GH5 too, and all three will fit snugly inside. But the one thing you might notice here is that there is no zoom or manual focus functions available. So the focus length must be set before putting the camera in the case, and the focus has to be set to auto. So no manual focusing here. When using it myself, I just set it in autofocus continuous and went from there. All of the buttons are where you'd expect them to be to match the GH5 cameras. And this big yellow button here is obviously your shutter record button. Here is the shutter dial. One thing I did, because of not being able to set aperture when underwater, was set up custom functions between photo and video. I set my aperture at f5 in both modes and jumped between them there. I bought this kit with the 6-inch dry dome port, which works best with the Panasonic 8 to 18mm. It does come with a smaller lens housing that works with the Panasonic 12 to 60, the 42mm, the 30mm and the 45mm lenses. I also grabbed an aluminium tray, and these handles are a lot easier to use when underwater too. Because it is plastic and it has this massive dome on the front, the buoyancy is pretty shocking. It's very hard to go underwater while holding this air bubble. What I did to get around this issue was attach an Alkalite trim weight system and added a 500 gram dive weight to the front. Now this keeps it negatively buoyant at the surface and is a lot easier to manage underwater. It's not pretty to connect everything, but I jerry-rigged something together which works fairly well. I would suggest giving it a go without a weight, but for me the added weight makes it a much more stable camera platform when underwater. Another thing which is extremely important to get is the vacuum seal test kit. This checks if the seal of the housing is working correctly, so this is something to do before you go into the water. So make sure you clean the area with a cotton bud beforehand or something like that. Really make sure there's no dirt around the rim. What I do is grease everything down. I think I go too crazy with the grease, but having more can't hurt. Then put your camera in. Make sure the rear screen is facing you as well, as I have learnt from past experience. With your vacuum test attached, unscrew it, press the button until the red light is flashing, then pump it up. Doesn't take too long till the green light goes on, and then you know the seal is working. Then I put on a timer for 15 minutes to see the integrity of the seal is still holding. After those 15 minutes are up, it's snorkel time. Now I keep this thing on when in the water, not sure if you're meant to do it, but it's nice to know there's a visual alert to let you know how the seal integrity is going. I've gone about 45 minutes to an hour in the water before the light switched to red, which means it's time to get out. Another contingency is inside the housing. There's a water-sensitive alarm that will make a squeal if any moisture gets inside. Sounds like a sick PC speaker. So wrapping up, this is a really great product, plus it's affordable. On the other side, I'm a little bit wary of putting it into, say, heavy and rough water. I'm not sure how the plastic body would go in, surf barrels or things like that. I'm sure it would be fine, but I'm just a little bit hesitant with it. Another thing which is a little bit annoying is the lack of the zoom, focus and aperture controls. You can get around it, but it would be nice to have everything in the one package. I'm also not sure how it would go in deeper dives. It says it can go to 40 meters, but I'm not a scuba diver, so I'm not sure if that's good or bad. Overall, I would highly recommend this for any GH5 shooter, especially if you aren't that hardcore into diving or spend a lot of time near the water. I don't snorkel that often during the year, but because I needed it for a client job, and it worked fantastically, I could justify the spend. This is a really great product. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Cheers.